Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be covering another piece from this book. You probably get to see a ton more of these videos because I am loving this kind of content. I'm really enjoying it. Today we're going to go over The Art of Revenge of the Sith, page 63, where we're going to be covering Padme's nightmare about Anakin. And this is pretty cool because we've seen a lot of, damsel in distress sort of dreams from Anakin regarding his mother, regarding Padme. But this time it's reversed and we see Padme having one about Anakin as well as about herself. And I guess this was something that was going to be incorporated, but let's get to it. And also I want to explain that I think, remember that scene where Anakin tells Padme about his dream, about his nightmare? I think that was actually supposed to be on Naboo, and there's some beautiful art and architecture about it that I found right here, which is actually pretty sweet. You know, they were supposed to actually be on Naboo. That was like the original idea, I think, for that scene, or some scene in general. They were going to return there. But instead, they ended up taking some of the concept art from this, and they turned it into Kashyyyk, as well as paying homage to George Inness, who went to Italy where he did a similar painting of a monk in a garden. I was very excited to create a Romeo and Juliet elements. It's really the stress meeting between Anakin and Padme to the right. I see. On October 25th, Lucas divulges more of the episode 3 story. A new locale is needed for a key love scene between Padme and Anakin. Because the planet of the scene has yet to be determined, which ended up to be Coruscant, Timmons creates a number of settings on Naboo, Padme's homeworld. Upon seeing them, Lucas transfers the locale to Coruscant, while some of the garden elements find their way to Kashyyyk. So it's pretty cool how all of these different elements are taken from, something that's meant for Naboo, but then, ends up on Kashyyyk as well. We are going to talk about Padme's dream. So McKeag exhibits two keyframes, one of which shows Padme doubled up in pain, seeking Yoda's help. Padme has the Force flowing through her, McKeag says. She has more midichlorians than any person ever had because she's pregnant with the Skywalker twins. So that's pretty wild, dude. She is the most powerful being in the galaxy, midichlorian wise. So if there was a midichlorian test, ranking test, she ranks number 1. She's higher than Anakin, Yoda, anybody, simply because she has Luke and Leia inside of her. So she's got 40,000 midichlorians just about inside of her, like 36 or something like that. So I was wondering if we see her suffer. Although Lucas is enthusiastic, neither of these moments will make the final cut. Meanwhile, the production department at Elstree Studios in London, England, where production designer Gavin Bouquet and costume designer Trisha Bigar are now working, has a new member, artist Stian Daslet, who will work up more costume concepts. George said there might be a scene where Padme is doubled over in agony and Yoda is there but unable to help her. We wanted to bring Anakin forward to Darth Vader. Even the shape of his hair was meant to suggest Vader's black helmet. So here we can see the actual concept art of Yoda trying to help Padme, and we can see like a little force energy around her that he's imbuing, but it's not really doing anything. He can't help her. And that is actually her dream of Anakin. That's the dream she has of him. And he is being pulled out with machines from Mustafar, which I think is pretty interesting. I mean, in the novel, Palpatine finds him, on the low ground from where Obi-Wan swiped him up, cut him up, and he does like a forced jump onto the higher ground, and I thought that was pretty cool in the book. However, in this, he's full on got droids like picking him out of the lava, which I think would have been pretty cool too, but it would have been maybe a little bit difficult to explain how the droids get there, how did Palpatine maybe get control of the droids, or whatever it might be, but check this out. This is essentially what I think full power Darth Vader would have looked like, had he not burned and lost to Obi-Wan Kenobi. That is a pretty sweet image. Check that out. Look at the detail, the level of detail, the hair, how just dark and menacing he looks. And it's still incorporating a lot of the Revenge of the Sith costume design, with the leather underneath and all that, but he's just got a different cloak, different robe. It's got purple, which symbolizes royalty and power, and he's just got these like sick boots, and his lightsaber, of course, just ready to go. And it's the same old chrome lightsaber, so obviously he doesn't change it or anything like that. I guess he just would have made the crystal red, which back then, to make a crystal red, it's a synthetic crystal. So that's how he would have done it then. But of course now you have to bleed your crystal, which I think is also a cool idea. But the old Legends original way was you get a synthetic crystal. They're not, they're all original. So as for Padme having these nightmares about Anakin, you know, did these happen maybe once she was pregnant? You know, is this a result of all the midichlorians within her? Does that mean that she could potentially be force sensitive in a way because of the midichlorians within her? Does that mean you can make somebody a Jedi if they're pregnant? Or is, you know, this perhaps a more effective way of what they were trying to do with Master Sifo Dyas's blood with General Grievous? You know, they were trying to inject General Grievous with Jedi force sensitive blood from Master Sifo Dyas, and of course it backfired. It didn't work. But maybe this is the answer. Maybe, you know, you got to get pregnant and, you know, with a force sensitive baby, and then you'll be able to have some interesting abilities and powers, because I don't think Padme would have had these visions before, because that's definitely a psychic power, a force power that she doesn't have access to because she's not force sensitive. So I find this stuff pretty cool, pretty neat, pretty fun to think about, and, you know, you can expect a lot more of these concept art videos to come. I love covering them. Probably my favorite on the channel besides fan fictions and stuff, which are also going to be returning. So let me know what you think of these dreams, these nightmares that Padme was having of both herself, you know, keeling over in front of Yoda and he not being able to do anything, which means that her fate is pretty much sealed. And also for Anakin, you know, being taken out of the lava pit, like on Mustafar. Imagine if she had told him this stuff and he would have maybe done something different, taken a different step to perhaps make sure those dreams don't come true, or he would have doubled down even harder and gone further into the dark side. But who knows? Anyways, maybe he would have been a little more careful on the high ground, because he's like, okay, crap, I'm a little bit close to lava now, and that was Padme's dream. But knowing Anakin on the dark side, he probably would have just been like, no, that's not happening. I will overcome everything. So, written by J.W. Rinzler. May he rest in peace, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you always. Pretty sweet stuff that I came across in here. This one is actually about why Anakin had long hair. And I know a lot of people might see the title and, you know, they'll dismiss this video and they'll be like, oh, whatever, who cares, you just had long hair. Well, there's actually so much more to it, which I find really interesting, as we see that everything was by George's meticulous design. So the reason Anakin had long hair wasn't just because it, you know, made him look pretty or whatever. McKeag here says George wanted Anakin to look more like Qui-Gon Jinn, to show that he was going beyond what Obi-Wan was teaching him, hence the long hair. I find this really marvelous. I find this really interesting and really thought-provoking, in the sense that Anakin was actually going beyond what Obi-Wan was teaching him. You know, his powers were far beyond what the Jedi were teaching him. And this is always something that Anakin was saying, and a lot of people, I feel like, dismissed it and said, oh, well, you know, he's just whiny. And sure, he is whiny, but he definitely is meant to be